back to the Act Two podcast, a podcast for the real-life working screenwriter. I'm Tasha Josh.
And I am Josh Hallman.
And we are Act Two, a network and support group for the everyday working screenwriter, of which this podcast is just one of our many initiatives. So thank you for joining us here. Please subscribe to the podcast. That way you don't miss out on any of our upcoming topics. Please rate and subscribe, write a comment, do all the things. It helps us help you because it's sort of, algorithm shit. But if you'd rather DM us, you also can. That is very valuable. We love having your questions and your topic suggestions, or you just want to tell us what's going on in your writing life. You can do that at ActTwoWriters@gmail.com, all spelled out, or on our Instagram and Twitter at ActTwoWriters. I am Story Thursday on Instagram and Tasha 3.0 on Twitter and Blue Sky.
I'm Josh Hallman on Instagram, Joshua Hallman on Twitter. You actually pulled me back in. I deleted Twitter from my phone.
God damn it.
And then you had sent me a few links. I was like, damn, these are some great links. And
this Luigi CEO thing was just too much. I couldn't live in it alone.
It was weird because you were sending me things that were very popular things that were happening in the world. And I was just kind of like, oh yeah, I know that this Luigi guy, I didn't know all the specifics. I didn't know people were rallying behind him with a jacket and everything. I was like, wait, what? I was living in a bubble, man. And that bubble.
I'm so sorry. For the longest time, I was not sending these to you. I was only sending them to my husband because I needed some outlet.
Of course.
And he's also not on Twitter. So it was like news to him. And then as I sent you one, I was like, this is a bad idea. Sent.
Yeah. And I took it and I was like, well, let me just quickly reinstall Twitter. So I've been back on it.
I'm so sorry.
It's
I
good.
feel like I've done this to you several times. Yes, I have, in fact, where you're like an addict for certain things and I tempt you back into it.
Yeah.
The last one before this was fantasy football.
Oh, yeah. I'm back, which I made the playoffs, by the way. And just a shocking twist.
You actually beat my husband. Apparently,
wait,
you beat him by 1 point, which knocked him out of the playoffs.
Is that right?
That's what he said.
Well, I want to put the double whammy on it because didn't you two play last week?
Yeah,
and you beat him.
His ass. So he definitely didn't make the playoffs.
And I was actually I was looking at it. I was like, wait a minute. Am I going to make the playoffs?
Because you've not been doing great. Like, it's not like a stellar year for you.
No, I'm 5-8.
Anyways.
Hey, any given Sunday.
So
we're talking about fantasy football today, right?
Yeah, that's our topic. Listen, we have some this week's in writings. We have a topic. We have actually a lot to get into today.
Yeah, okay.
But I'd like to start with one of your favorite new segments, Would You Rather?
Oh, no. I wasn't ready. Okay.
All right. Would you rather have written the nobody action scene on the bus?
Okay.
Or the chase sequence in Back to the Future 1 that ends in the manure truck dumping on Biff's car?
I'm not going against Back to the Future. I'm just saying Back to the Future.
Okay. Would you rather have written Red One or Violent Night?
Probably Violent Night.
Interesting.
No, it's tie.
No ties in Would You Rather. I feel like Red One is more tonally you.
Yeah.
But Violent Night is a stronger movie. So it's tough.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
This is a weird one. Would you rather sell a spec for $1 million, but you don't get any steps to rewrite it, and they're like definitely going to hire another writer, or sell a spec for substantially less money, but you get a chance to rewrite it based on a round of studio notes?
Oh, would I still get credit from this when that sold for $1 million?
Unknown.
Oh.
Unknown for both.
Oh. I'd probably take the $1 million.
Take the money and run.
Yeah.
All right, last one.
Yeah.
Would you rather write the sequel to Back to the Future or a spin-off of Mission Impossible?
Oh. I would rather write the sequel to Back to the Future.
Wow, and like easily said too.
Because I already know I know what it is. I've been thinking about it for like the last. I know what it is.
Write that in my sleep.
Yeah, I know exactly what it is.
All right. How do you feel?
I feel like I'm gonna come in next time with a would you rather for you.
It's like revenge now.
Yeah, it is. I feel, oh man, that red one, Violent Night one, is a tricky one because you're I don't know. I'm gonna retract that at some point in the future, like 8 months from now. Like red one, I liked red. I loved red one.
It's great.
Okay.
Do you want to get into this week's in writings?
It's red one. I'm going back. I'm taking it back. Yeah, let's go. Red. This week in writing.
This week in writing.
All right, Josh, I texted you last night. Movies are back.
They're back.
I went to my local AMC on a Tuesday night. This movie was at 6:45 p.m. and the place was packed. I saw Interstellar because it was re-released, which is another This Week in Writing. But there were so many. The theater was packed. Like, it was completely sold out. We in fact had to seat. It was an IMAX theater. We had to sit in the second row, which is terrible in an IMAX. Terrible with Interstellar as well, because those were the only seats available. It was crazy. There were a lot of young people, super engaged because maybe they've never seen Interstellar. Of course, there was one gentleman in front of us who got bored at some point, pulled out his phone and proceeded to play a mobile game.
No.
For quite a while. And then he got interested again, so he put it away. Oh. And what was interesting to me about this is that he was with his buddies. His buddy would lean over and like talk to him about something going on in the movie, like whisper. But his buddy never was like, put your phone away. What are you doing?
Yeah.
This was just like something that he accepted about his buddy's movie-going etiquette.
Yeah, that's a bad buddy.
It's bizarre. But I was also in line to get popcorn, as one does. And there were two 20-something women behind me just talking about all the movies they had seen lately in theaters, all the movies they're excited to see coming out. They were like going through all the new releases coming out and like they're planning on when are they going to go see it with each other. I was like, fuck yes, movies are back.
Movies are freaking back. I love that it took you to see Interstellar to get to this conclusion.
I think it's apropos, really.
But I agree. I actually think the last few months have been incredible with movies. Yeah. I've been loving every moment of it. And that energy that happened last year with Barbenheimer kind of happened again with Wicked. And it's just, you can't, and Gladiator, of course. And by the way, I'm not just saying this. I think Red One's going to have a nice little next couple weeks. I think that movie's good and it's a holiday time. But yeah, movies are freaking back.
Yeah, I can feel the energy shift.
I have.
Which is very exciting. I
have 2 ways to just completely bring them back.
Whoa, let's go.
Number 1 is a theater going experience, right? Mm-hmm. You just need a good seat. Well, that takes some time though. Number 2, which doesn't take as much time, but I don't think would ever happen, is significantly cutting down on the trailers or just eliminating trailers altogether.
I don't think you can do that.
I'm just saying.
But there used to be like 3. And like, that's a solid.
Yeah.
It's maybe like 10 to 15 minutes of trailers and you're out.
Now it's like a strong 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you get Nicole Kidman talking about AMC theaters.
Yeah.
And then you get that screen that's like, this is what black looks like. And this is what black looks like. And then you're just like, what is happening? And I know. It's just like, just start the freaking movie.
Just start the freaking movie.
Yeah. So, I agree. I love movies. I think they're back. And I hope there's like people going back to the theaters.
I see it. It's very exciting. Okay, so I'm just going to move right into my next one and not ask you if you have any.
Thank you.
Good. So I saw Interstellar, and I've seen it before, but it was the first time my husband had seen it. I insisted he see it in a theater. This was awesome.
Wait.
I know. Trust me.
Wait. What?
He has seen every Chris Nolan movie, but he's not seen this one. And it's not like one you can just turn on the TV. If it's going to be in theaters, you see it in theaters.
How has Paul not seen Interstellar?
Listen, I don't know. There's a time in his life where he just didn't see the proper movies, but he's better now.
This is what marriage is all about.
So Interstellar, first of all, if you haven't seen it, it is just genius on screen, just giving everyone a master class on writing, on lighting, on music, on just like every aspect of filmmaking. But I think a huge lesson that I relearned in watching Interstellar is the importance of emotion. It is so easy for that movie in lesser hands to be boring, to be slow, to feel sort of plodding. Because there are times when like kind of nothing happens, but a lot is always happening. But emotionally, everything is so loaded because you have the Matthew McConaughey character who is leaving his children behind, whom he loves more than life itself, in order to, on a whim, hopefully save their lives.
Yeah.
And every scene he's in is loaded with that potential of, I can't die because I have to succeed, or because it's space-time continuum. It's also like, if we go on this planet, it will be 7 years back on Earth, even though it will be an hour for us. And he has to deal with, okay, my daughter is going to be 7 years older. She's going to be 14 years older. Holy fuck, I'm going to miss my daughter's life.
Yeah.
And so like everything is loaded with that. And then, you know, all the other characters also have their own thing that they're sort of fighting for. And it's just a really great reminder to find the emotion up front, because that's really, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters. Everything else is almost just window dressing.
There's that one moment where like the clock is ticking on the planet. Have you ever seen that, where he goes down into the water planet? And then like I saw this breakdown where, if you remember, they go to that there's just water all over the planet, and there's that big wave that's coming, which is incredible. But the music, and you touched on this of how great the music is, when it clicks, it's like tick, 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 and that represents 7 years every time it clicks, according to just like, that was just Nolan. I forget what it is, but it's just like the attention to detail, the music works. I love that movie. I think it's when I remember seeing it and being like, wow, that was amazing. Now I think it's like an absolute masterpiece. I love Chris Nolan.
Yeah, it is a masterpiece.
I'm going to go into one.
Okay.
I was thinking about the movie Mean Girls, and they have that iconic dance sequence that they dance, the Mean Girls dance in their Christmas outfits, and they're on stage. Do you remember that movie? You've seen Mean Girls, right?
I've never seen Mean Girls.
Never mind. You haven't seen Mean Girls?
Wait, let's go back as if I had said, yeah.
Okay. So there's this moment in Mean Girls where Lindsay Lohan, Rachel McAdams, Amanda Seyfried, and Lacey, the four Mean Girls, they are dancing on stage, and they do this very inappropriate dance to the school. Lindsay Lohan's made the twist. She's already become a mean girl, or she's kind of like infiltrated the crew, and they all wear these very short Christmas skirts or dresses, and they're dancing, and they make everyone really uncomfortable, but it's also this very big comedic moment. And currently, if you ever go to a adult Christmas party or any Christmas party, there will always be a selection of people who will dress as the Mean Girls, or I'm sure younger girls are probably doing it. This is why I'm bringing this moment up. Is because it's not a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
But it has an iconic Christmas moment.
Yeah.
I just found that a really interesting thing, because I think everybody, when you get into Christmas time, you always want to have like this iconic Christmas movie. But I was like, maybe it's not about a movie, but it's more about a moment.
That's interesting.
It's not at all a Christmas movie, I don't think. Maybe the movie takes place over Christmas, I guess. But I don't know. I was just thinking about Christmas moments and iconic things, and I was like, is this like the only non-iconic Christmas moment that's not in a Christmas movie?
Well, I think like vice versa. I think of Iron Man 3. That's, people are like, it's a Christmas movie. It's not a fucking Christmas movie. It takes place during Christmas, which Shane Black is great at doing. Lethal Weapon, for example. Lethal Weapon to me is a Christmas movie because thematically it's about some of these Christmas principles we talked about in our last episode about what makes Christmas movies iconic. But Iron Man 3 has none of these like Christmas ideals baked into the story. There just happens to be Christmas lights sometimes. And it makes me mad when people say that's a Christmas movie. But the same sounds like it applies to this, but like the moment is so iconic that it feels Christmassy.
I feel like you would totally know this moment. It's been replicated.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've definitely seen that moment.
So that's all. I was just thinking about that because, we talk. I think I think our dream, collective, I speak for both of us. How great would it be to write an iconic Christmas movie.
Amazing.
Or have an iconic Christmas moment
Yeah.
where everyone's just like ripping it off for the rest of time.
It's awesome.
Okay.
One day.
One day.
All right. I have another one.
Yeah.
I am going to the Game Awards.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Tomb Raider's nominated as one of the best adaptations of a video game for, I was going to say TV, but I think there's movies in there.
Is it too early to congratulate you on your win, or should we just wait?
Absolutely. I'm not going to win. I'm not prepping a speech. It's not. I'm just happy to be there, one of those situations. But the point of me mentioning this is you have been to many, many award shows. And I would like your advice on what am I about to experience here.
It's the best. I love award shows because you get into a room with people who are all really passionate about the same thing. It's a little demystifying because you get to see how everything is made, and it's like not as, you're like, oh man, it's kind of cooler just watching it on TV because then you don't get to see the cameras.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
On the last Emmys we went to, I had a bad back, if you remember. And so I proceeded to
That's right.
leave our seat, which was a really great seat. And I sat in the back of the auditorium by myself in like this lone seat, which was much more comfortable.
Oh, no.
Where it was kind of like a cushiony handicap seat, to be honest. But no one was sitting in like a bunch of these rows.
Yeah.
And so I just sat there by myself and I was like watching the production happen. It's kind of depressing. However, I'm very excited for you.
Uh-huh.
You have to embrace the moment. You're going to soak it in. This is the first of many award shows that you're about to embark on.
Are there any do's and don'ts that I should be aware of?
Yeah, do have a couple drinks. Don't have too many. Drink water.
Uh-huh.
Don't drink too much water and have to get up in the middle of the ceremony. It's like being at like a live movie.
Are there pee break intermissions?
People get up during like commercial breaks.
Okay.
Things like that. There's a little breaks here and there if there are commercial breaks. But no, there are no do's and don'ts. You just have to embrace it and feel excited about all of it and be prepared to give a speech.
No, this is the best case scenario. It's like I get to go and have the fun of being nominated, but none of the pressure of having to like get up.
No,
speech
this is
or
great.
be the center of attention in any way.
No, this is good.
Anyways, next This Week in Writing. I'm sorry I have another one. This Week in Writing is very long, but I have 2 pitches this week, and two things occurred to me in thinking about this for the podcast and just how to talk about it. Is back in the day, not very long ago, having 2 pitches in a week would have absolutely destroyed me, and it is very hard. It is, but I don't think I could have done it earlier in my career because it took me so long to prepare a pitch and to be confident in a pitch that I couldn't possibly find the time to prepare both, and it would just destroy me mentally. But here I am, and I'm going to do it, and I'm like frazzled because it's so much work, but I'm not dying, and I think that's huge growth.
I think it's massive growth. As a matter of fact, I think it's even a big deal to even do a podcast and then later do a pitch, because I think at some point we probably both dedicated an entire day to a pitch that was like in an afternoon.
Definitely.
Where it'd be like you wake up, you're like practice, not thinking about anything else, pitch. And then, but now it's like you kind of you're confident enough to let your mind wander throughout the day and then get back into the pitch.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal.
That feels like a huge deal. It's a huge stepping stone, I feel like. Also, these are 2 very different pitches. The one today is to rewrite a movie for a studio. And then the one in 2 days is it's like my very first preliminary meeting with producers to potentially put my name in the hat to showrun a live action show. So it's not even like the full pitch because I've only had kind of a week to sit with the material. So they're not expecting a full pitch. However, by the end of that day, they're going to meet with a bunch of people. At the end of that day, they're going to decide who moves on to the next round, which is like a more full pitch and with their notes and all of that, which I think bears potentially doing a pitching is terrible episode on these 2 different versions of pitching because they are very different.
Man,
that's all.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I think I'm excited too. It'll be interesting.
I can't wait for you to talk about them. There's a lot I want to say, but I think it just requires diving into pitching, the prep stuff, and it's just like a whole other episode.
It is, and I'm bummed because I really want to talk about it since I'm right in the middle of it, and I kind of like my approach to this one on Friday, because I don't have a lot of time to really figure out plot, is to just lead entirely with emotion. And I'm gonna like kind of do a little experiment in this pitch, Josh, which you may appreciate, where I'm going to lean so heavily into getting them excited about where the emotional idea came from. I'm just going to lean so fucking hard into that. Just tell stories about that. And then be like, oh, here's a sprinkle of what I think the plot could be. Just to see if that works.
I think it's going to work because I'm envious of this future moment that you're having, because I always think about that and then somehow get tied up in plot. Oh, this is what happens. But I think you're in a perfect spot to do it. And I'm excited for you.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay.
All right.
Main topic stuff?
Let's
start. Where should we start? Should we talk about the Blacklist that came out last week?
Let's talk about the Blacklist, which I think is a holiday thing for screenwriters.
Yes.
It came out last week, and interesting observation that I had this time, Joshua, is that there seem to be a lot of rom-coms and romantic thrillers on this list. And I think oftentimes there's a lot of biopics and a lot of action movies. And this time, a lot of rom-coms and romantic thrillers.
Yeah. I noticed it too. And I think we have to give a couple shout outs. We have friends who are on the Blacklist. There's some listeners who are on the Blacklist. There's
true.
Someone from Act 2 who's on the Blacklist.
It's true.
Anna
Klassen.
Congratulations. But I think we discussed, do you want to talk about some of the ideas that we wish we had written?
Yes. I'm excited to hear yours. I have a few. All right. So interestingly, you know how you love father-daughter stories. I love mother-daughter stories.
Yeah.
There are a lot of mother-daughter stories on this They're all horror movies. They're all horror movies or like horror thrillers or something, which I think is funny. But Mother Boy by Tess Brewer. Management company is anonymous content. There's no studio or producers attached. So this is just a spec that Tess Brewer has written. And the log line is, when a woman becomes trapped in a snowstorm with her overbearing mother-in-law and husband over the Thanksgiving holiday, she begins to suspect that their relationship is not as maternal as it seems. Barbarian by way of an erotic Hallmark holiday movie.
Yeah. How interesting is that?
That's what got me, because I loved Barbarian. By way of a Hallmark holiday movie. Genius. These mashups, I love them.
I do too. I love that one as well. But I want to say that there were a couple that I read that I was like, oh, I wish I wrote this, but just tweaked it slightly differently in a little way. So one of mine, I'm just going to go on your coattails here. The one that I really liked was called Mommy's Home by James Morosini. A young dad revives his 24-year-old cryogenically frozen mom, unleashing terror and forbidden tension that haunt his family and threaten to unravel his marriage. So in my version of that, I just love the idea of like unfreezing your mom and having her wreak terror on your marriage.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it would be a whore. It would probably be a little bit more of like an overbearing mother type thing. And it would probably be a little lighter than what this is. But I read that and I was like, oh, this is great. This is a great one. Also anonymous content, by the way.
Yeah. One that you actually sent me as, dang, this feels like one that Tasha would have written, and it absolutely was American Monsters.
Yeah.
By Chris Grillot.
Yeah.
Brio.
Nice.
Sorry, Chris. I don't know Chris personally, so I don't know his last name. But the logline is, a senator and his estranged son must fight to survive when they're stranded at a hunting ranch where mythical beasts from global folklore are genetically engineered as dangerous game.
Yeah.
This is repped by CAA and also Rain Management with Matt Rosen. But no studio, no producers yet. I think this is genius. They should buy this up immediately. But how fun is that?
I know. I read that and I was like, oh, I got to be honest. That's also something where just the idea of the genetically engineered beasts and like these, like, I think we've talked about this. The way my brain works sometimes is I'm always kind of like, how do you get these seemingly normal people into a very extreme situation and then unravel all of their emotional baggage in the process. That's
Yeah.
always kind of like where my brain is at. And
For sure.
I'm always trying to think. And so this idea, when I read it, I was like, genetically engineered. That's like Jurassic Park on something. Like, how did I not think about this? And that was
It's
definitely
genius.
one of those moments.
And notice it's a senator and his estranged son. So he's doing exactly what you're talking about, of bringing two people together.
Totally.
In this process.
I love it. Okay. I'm going to give a shout out to Anna Klassen from Act Two.
Get it?
She wrote a script called The 13th Hour. And the logline is, when a group of teenagers repair an old clock with mysterious 13th numeral, they are granted an extra hour where their actions have no consequences. What a great idea.
What a great idea.
What are they going to do for that hour?
I don't know.
Are they going to kill people?
Have lots of sex? Drugs? Rock and roll? By the way, this is why I don't come up with these concepts like, what's the other one?
The Purge?
Purge. Because there's no fantasy inside of me that wants to break rules. So I don't, like, it's never like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if we had a 13th hour where we could do whatever we wanted?
Dude.
No.
You'd be a perfect character in The Purge, the rule follower.
Also in her movie. It's just like, no, I'm not doing there's no consequences, Tasha. I don't care. I feel comfortable.
I have a quick pitch for you. Somehow you figure out your Purge universe and you are the adjacent character living in an area with your mom, like on a farm, and the purge is somehow getting to you, but you two are like, you're like the rule follower and she wants to purge, and you're like, no, absolutely not. And so it's like, it's all leading to whatever that purge universe is.
That's pretty great. My mom listens to this podcast. Mom, I could see there's some like revenge that could happen on Purge Day for you.
Yeah. And you're just like trying to reel her in, not lose her to the purge.
We suspect that her neighbor has shot her dog with a BB gun before. And so like he would be first on the list.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. You should definitely write a mother-daughter story.
Genius.
Yeah. All
right. One more for me
Yeah.
anyways. True Mermaid Story by Matthew Carnahan. Agency is Verve. There are producers on this one. Low Spark. A struggling screenwriter's life spirals into chaos when he becomes obsessed with telling the true story of a mermaid's life and death. I love stories about writers.
Yeah.
I want to write one. I think we all probably do, because we think our minds are special, which I think they are.
Of course.
But I love when screenwriters' sanity unravels, or writers' sanity unravels in movies.
Mm-hmm.
And this is genius. It's like fantasy meets the unraveling screenwriter mind. It's great.
Yeah, I love it too. I just want to shout out two more.
Okay.
3 Hitmen and a Baby by David Madelon and Matthew Altman. 3 of the world's top hitmen must take on the most challenging assignment yet, babysitting an infant who holds the key to their survival. Come on.
Genius.
I love that. All right. And then number 2 is The 7 Guys You Date Before Marriage by Julie Yorks. After her 10-year relationship collapses, a newly single woman dives back into the dating pool, navigating 7 wildly different romantic entanglements that prepare her for her future husband. I bring this up, Tasha, because I've talked about this before. I once wrote probably a more inappropriate script. It's called The Periodic Table of Women. Kind of the same concept about a guy dating different women to get back on his feet.
Yeah.
And now I see the way. It took 10 years later. I should have written the more appropriate version of it. And here it is.
You were angry at the time. I understand.
Yeah. Talk about a revenge script.
So weird. Now you're married with a child.
Yeah.
Long time ago, Josh.
Yeah. The anger's still there.
Unresolved. White knuckling it.
Okay.
Shall we move on to our happy topic of Christmas?
Yeah.
All right, so today we are talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, but 2 parts of the Christmas holiday for writers. One being how to actually function as a writer during this time. How do you write? How do you feel productive? How do you get anything done when there's gifts you have to buy and deadlines you have for your job and parents who are coming over, all of those things. And then second kind of small piece we're going to tuck in there is gifts for writers and for reps.
Yeah. Listen, I know we kind of railroaded some of this podcast, but it's the Christmas time. We talked about other things. We had to get some things off of our chest. And in the final portion, we're just talking about how to stay focused, which I think is a really big deal. But, I think they're all the main topic.
Mm-hmm.
So staying focused over the holidays, Tasha. You think you're going to do it?
I have to. I have something due before Christmas that I have a treatment I have to do, at least as much as I possibly can.
So like 11:59 on Christmas Eve.
I mean, not opposed.
So it's just a matter of carving out time.
It is, but I have these two pitches, right? So I haven't been able to work on the thing I need to work on for the last 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
This week included and leading up to it, and then last week of really prepping. So yeah, it's tough. It's been a lot of waking up early and a lot of scheduling down to the hour. So we've talked about that a lot on our podcast as a successful way to deal with a lot of the stress, and that's what I've really had to lean into. And it's also, by the way, like focusing on one thing at a time, one task, get that done so you can focus on the next task. Because when you realize you have so many things to do at once and you like try to do all of them in a day, that can be so overwhelming that nothing gets done or nothing gets done well. So I actually had to, for these two pitches, I would put the second pitch that's in 2 days, I would put that aside until I finished my first pitch. And I finished that early, but I needed to get that done so that I can move on to the next thing. And so that's kind of how I broke it down, is just do the thing in front of you, get that done, move on to the next.
Yeah, I think it's just being regimented and just being sturdy with your decisions and just being like, this is it. It's so easy to get sidetracked. It's so easy, especially this time. And when you have so much going on and maybe your brain starts thinking about one pitch when you're working on another one, you're like, oh, that's a great idea. And you just want to plug it in. But I think anyone in general, if you're writing, and I think now people are very motivated because, end of the year stuff, and you're kind of reading Blacklist, you read different lists, and you're just like, I want to get this idea out in the world. And I think it just comes down to setting the parameters in which you need to write and just sticking to them.
Yeah, I think so too. What is your holiday like? Are you going away? Are you traveling? Are you staying home?
Yeah, I'm screwed this holiday. And from a writing perspective, I'm traveling, so that's just a wash. Unless I have a lengthy flight, so I'll be able to write on the airplane, which is going to be great. And so I'll try to find some time to carve out some writing.
Yeah.
And hopefully get some stuff done. I think the holidays also are a great time to think of ideas, and you get excited. I just came on here. I told you an idea that I had, and I'm excited. I was like, I'm excited in the moment, but who knows how I'll feel in a week from now? Or, and it's like you can always have these really big ideas that you get excited about, and then you just let them sit. And I think the holidays allow for that to happen as well.
Yeah, I do feel like the holidays can give you that space to work on things that you don't normally work on, that are just like passion projects, because you don't have a lot of time to sit and just get into something that's maybe been more difficult for you to write over the year. It's just kind of like a few minutes here, maybe before people wake up in the morning. That's always a really good time if you're with a bunch of family.
Yeah.
To plan on that, like wake up an hour early and just get it done before everyone's banging around in the kitchen for coffee, or after everyone goes to sleep. There's usually I feel like in families when you're like, all right, I'm going to go to bed, people kind of leave you alone and let you do your thing. It's okay if you're in bed and you're writing.
Yeah.
That's fine. Also, another trick that I've been using around this holiday is really understanding when your brain is freshest and when it's not, because we have a lot to do this time of year. We have a lot of gifts. We have a lot of places to go, gifts to buy. So you don't need any brain power to buy gifts, right? So like when my brain is at its peak, I am working in those hours. And then when my brain gets tired, I'm using that those moments efficiently and buying gifts in those times, or doing the tasks I need to do around the house those times, and getting back into it when my brain is renewed again. So it takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of knowing yourself, but there's definitely ways to get things done.
Man, we've all been there probably every single day where you are just fried and your brain cannot function and you're just like, I can't even look at a screen without getting a migraine right now. So I need to just put the computer down. And yeah, it's important to know when you stop.
Yeah, I have before years felt resentment when family was over during the day because it was preventing me from writing. And I think if you have that problem, by the way, if you're a monster like me, then what we're talking about becomes really helpful, because I no longer have that problem. When people are awake and it's family time, like the work goes away and you're just focused on that. And then it's using those bookends of the day to the utmost advantage so that you don't feel that resentment during the day when you're with your family. But I think it's important to completely shut off when you're with your family. Be super present there. For selfish reasons, it very much heals your brain so that when you do wake up early the next day and write, you feel refreshed because you weren't stressing about it and unable to do anything about it during the day.
Yeah.
I'm curious how much writing you're going to get while you're abroad. Because you wake up pretty dang early.
Yeah, actually, that'll probably be the first thing I do if I can do it, or I'll enjoy my morning. I don't know. I have no idea. The other thing I love about the holidays, especially if you travel, even if it's to a different state or a different city or whatever, or a different country, you always get to see new things and get new ideas and new scenarios. Yeah. And that is the beauty of traveling. Even if if you're going somewhere new, you always think of something new, and I love it.
Yeah, it's so true. I went to Solvang this last weekend, which is a little Dutch town outside of Los Angeles. And it's because they had like a big Christmas thing there. It looks like this cute little German town. I know it's Dutch, whatever. Point is, they happened to have a Viking museum. It was only 2 rooms worth of museum, but I went and learned so much and have new ideas for new shit. Just took pictures of all the shit, and now I got shit to write about.
I love it.
You find inspiration everywhere. It's great.
Do you want to quickly touch on some presents?
I do. Yes. I love Christmas for writers. It's a really, and I say that not because I get you any gifts, Joshua. I don't really get any writer's gifts, but the hope that someone will get me these gifts is really nice.
Yeah.
So we've talked before about story art on this podcast. I believe they are storyarts.com. And it's story with an I, arts.com, to clarify. It is a website made for writers. They have writing gloves with your favorite authors, like excerpts knitted into them. They have writing hats. They have like all like clothes, but they also have really handy things that you might need on your desk for writing. They just have, if you're a nerd for writing, they have so much stuff. I bought way too many books from them because they also have a lot of really, really cool illustrated editions of Harry Potter. They have some Jane Austen novels that actually have like the real letters. I don't know if you've ever read a Jane Austen novel, but there's usually a lot of letters written back and forth between characters, but they have them actually in the book that you can take out as if this person has written them. It's nerd heaven for writers. So I highly recommend going there. Another one is the Hero's Journal, which we have also partnered with a few times on this podcast. It's just heroesjournal.com. They have these sort of, how would you describe it? Like a to-do journal, basically?
Yeah, it's just kind of a fun to-do journal.
It's a fun to-do journal.
Inspiring.
It creates a hero's journey for you so that you're the hero of your own story, but it's helping you organize your tasks and just be more thoughtful every day as you go about the things you have to do. I would also suggest I think it's a whiskey called Writer's Tears.
Yeah.
Love it. I love getting that.
I love it too. I'm sure everyone's probably gotten that at some point, but
You got to. It's the best. And then I recently discovered a wine called Final Girl, which is, the horror trope of a final girl. Also insolving, by the way. That's where I discovered them.
Do you know what kind of wine it was?
They had all kinds. They have reds, they have whites, they have rosés, they have natural wines.
Oh.
I drank this weird orange wine, which was delicious, and I brought it home.
Oh, nice.
So Final Girl, check that out for any of the horror writer fans out there.
Wow. I don't even know how to follow up with that. That's all great.
Do you have any go-to writer gifts that you want to get me, Joshua?
Well, you know me and gifts. I don't really. Usually it's just bottles of wine, some tequila.
Yeah.
I do see, you know what though? I do see little trinkets that I always think of, like, and I've thought of you. I've seen like trinkets before. I'm like, oh, Tasha might like this. For me personally, I'm projecting that because I like them, I think other people will like them. And so I will always get like little trinkets or little like figures or whatever for people or books. And I don't know if people appreciate them as much as I do, but I do not care. So my little go-to are...
Because we all know gift giving is about the gift giver.
That would be correct. I feel like at this point, not to turn this on me, but I've earned the acceptance that I just don't give gifts to people. I've been not giving gifts for so long.
It is who you are. You gave me a gift this year for my birthday, and it was just a package with a lot of gifts that you've been meaning to give me over the years. And I think like gifts that were just around the house.
No way. I actually know what you're talking about. I remember going to a store, and I know some of the things. There's little figures actually.
Little
I got
Kung Fu Panda figures.
And I was like, you know what? And they were surprised. You don't know which one you're getting on the inside. I was like, hopefully it's going to work out for Tasha. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, that's too bad. But yeah, I like little trinkets. Of course, I like books and notebooks. And you can never have enough notebooks. I have them over my shoulder everywhere.
Yeah. Notebooks are the best. We sell notebooks, by the way, on our Act2 store.
Act2.
My father-in-law gave me a really cool, thoughtful gift recently that he went to an antique store and he found this like inkwell that was from the 1930s, and he like polished it up. And I don't use ink. Who does anymore? But it's like such a symbol of writers.
Yeah.
It's cool. It just kind of sits on my shelf over there, just being cool. So things like that can be very thoughtful and fun. What do you do about your reps? Josh, do you get your reps gifts? I'm
going to, yeah.
Yeah.
This year.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to send something to Jay-Z, not my agent, just Jay-Z.
I mean, that's your main go-to.
That's my guy. I'll send him a little something. Maybe, I actually don't know yet. Reps, it's all, I think reps get so much like bottles of
liquor.
Wine and liquor and stuff like that. I'm trying to be a little bit more thoughtful, which I've always tried to do, I know some of the things he likes. And so he'll probably get a little something.
Yeah. I always made my reps cookies.
That's right.
And I once tried to make one of my reps because he really loves whiskey. And to your point, I knew so many people were getting him whiskey that I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make him whiskey butter.
That's good, though. It's thoughtful.
It is, but I didn't do it well.
Oh.
And it was like so homemade. It was terrible. It just ended up in my freezer for months. But look, it's the thought that counts. Another thing that I would often get them, and I think is a really great idea, are like these gift boxes that are sort of themed. I would always use Knack Shop, which I just discovered today has been bought up by something called thoughtfully.com. But Knack Shop was my go-to. I would go there and you could just like movie lovers. And then it pops up a whole list of just pre-organized boxes that would be great for movie lovers. And they're cool. They're not cheap. I mean, to buy, like I'm looking at one that's $74, but also like the stuff inside is not cheap. You can often buy ones that are just kind of really shitty. And these have really quality things. So when it comes to reps, unfortunately, they are usually a lot wealthier than we are. And it's hard to buy them a gift that's not lame when you don't have a lot of money. So these were helpful because it felt like a luxury gift, but it would be somewhere between like $30, $40 all the way up to like $75.
How do you feel about that charcuterie board?
I love charcuterie boards.
Yeah. that one, you sent me something recently, and then also there's I think it's, what is it called? Like bordery something. There's a charcuterie board delivery service, which I've used before, and
yeah,
it was good.
Yeah,
Not great,
there's a book that I sent Joshua. It's not a book. It's like a series of cards, like postcard sized cards that have a picture of charcuterie, like very expertly designed. And on the back, it tells you what all the ingredients are. So you see this picture of how to lay it out. And the back is all the ingredients you have to buy. And then it has a whole section of like wine pairings. If you like white wine, if you like red wine, but here's the best wine that goes with it. And it's just, to me, like as this charcuterie board lover, I'm like, this is heaven. This is the best. And also would make a great gift for people like reps.
Yeah.
I'm not getting my reps anything this year.
Then I'm not either.
But I'm getting my manager something, so you should still get JC something.
Okay.
But I'm not getting my agents anything.
They're fine. They get enough stuff. It's a thought.
They get enough
counts.
stuff. And there's so many of them.
Yeah, just send them
I
an
don't
email.
have time this year.
Thank you. I'm sorry I've been slammed. You're great.
Love ya. Bye.
Onward.
All right. So
that's it.
That's our holiday writer episode, I guess.
Yeah.
Coming up, we're gonna do goal buddy stuff. We're gonna talk about whether Josh and I have hit our goals for the year, since we're at the end of the year. And then we're going to get into our favorite episode, which is how to build goals for the next incoming year. So I'm excited for those.
We're finishing strong.
Happy holidays, everybody. All right, quote of the day. Whenever you are fed up with life, start writing. Ink is the great cure for all human ills. C.S. Lewis. Please remember to rate and subscribe. Follow us at ActTwoWriters for more awesome writing stuff. You can follow me, Tasha, at Story Thursday on Instagram, or Twitter and Blue Sky at Tasha 3.0.
I'm Joshua Hallman on Twitter, Josh Hallman on Instagram.
And as always, the Act 2 podcast is a production of Act 2, a network and support group for the everyday working screenwriter. This episode was edited by Paul Lundquist.